Except my STEEZ know what's going on. Yes, Lord, bringing you Super Saturday, round 8, man. First game we had was the Western Bulldogs versus the Port Adelaide Power. And coming into this game, the Dogs been playing very good, man. If not great. I always say it every week. They always give it a crack, man. And yeah, they got the bump back, and they're having another week under his belt, getting back into game shape. This is third week back. And Port just been struggling against. They've been winning, but they have still been struggling. Haven't been playing their best footy, and just given the fact that they're playing on the road, Port just seems to not play as good on the road than they do at home, like a lot of teams. But it's definitely evident in the results. Also, it's Adam Shalor's first game back for the Dogs. So that being said, I had to tip them with the slight edge. I wasn't really quite sure which team I wanted to go with, but I ended up going with the Dogs, with Shalor really tipping, if you will, pun intended, the Dogs over the edge. Early on in the game, it didn't really look like the Dogs were going to win, though. Like, Montempelli wasn't as impactful as he usually is, and yeah, Port just looked good from the center, bro. They were up 10-0 on clearances, and Port really looked like they were getting to it, but yeah, at the end of the day, I think the Dogs' defense just was a bit too much. The scoring dried out for Port. Like O'Donnell and Lobb really held it down back, and were very stout defensively. I think the Dogs had a very good team win. I think there was like 11 different goal kickers for the Dogs. So it was just a nice collective win for them boys, man. The Bonk got to it. He might have not had been as impactful early in the game, but he definitely found his niche as the game went on. And aside from O'Donnell and Lobb, and Johannesson had a great game as well. And Bailey Dow always is good, man. And he looked good with the ball movement from down back, the transition ball movement, and he racked up some possessions and was killer with it, bro. So at the end of the day, man, I just think the Dogs were just a bit too much. Port fizzed out, and Port really just wasn't up to the challenge, man. The Dogs held Port to their lowest set shot scores, and I think their lowest stoppage scores on the season. And yeah, the Dogs, I want to say Luke Beveridge said this was the best win that the Dogs had all season. So it was their highest score they had all season, and Tim English was very impactful this game. He had, like, I can't remember how many score involvements, but he was heavily involved. I know he had over 12. Yeah, he was just everywhere, man. And I've had my issues with Tim English being soft in the contest, or just being soft in a marking contest, or whatever the case is. But he definitely put his best foot forward, man. And just too much for the Dogs. You're giving the Dogs first use, and you know, there's only so much that Port could do, bro. So it was a great win for the Dogs. Dogs definitely got on top. It was a convincing win, and it really took them to the cleaners, to be quite honest. Naughton got to it, bro, and yeah, it's just they're hanging on without Sam Darcy. They're holding it down back, and Buku was forward, and they're holding it down up forward, and the midfield is clicking on all cylinders. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at the Dogs more as contenders. I'm still not quite convinced that they are there yet, but they keep on doing a lot to change my mind as the games go on. And they keep on performing well. So I really like what I see for them. Port is on a complete opposite train for me. It's like, man, y'all may be winning games. You didn't win this one, obviously, but it just doesn't look too convincing, man. And you know, they're a great team on paper, and I think that they should be playing better than they are, and they're just quite not living up to scratch. So that's what I got for that one. Next game we have Adelaide versus Carlton, and at least somebody from South Australia was able to hold it down for the state, man, because Adelaide put it on Carlton, bro. And coming into this game, I definitely was not expecting that to be the case, given how Carlton played a great game against Geelong and looked very convincing. High pressure and ball movement was great, and they looked like they had a whole method to themselves, and it really just strangled Geelong, bro. And at the end of the day, that just wasn't the case in this game. They could not do that to Adelaide. Adelaide looked great. ball movement wise, just moving the ball from the contest to the outside. Carlton looked way too slow, and ball easily just moving around for Adelaide and resulting in a score, man. And that's just what it was. I think Josh Worrell played a great game defensively. I wasn't really expecting him to turn up the way he did, but he did, and he had a great impact on the game. And that's really what I think the Adelaide defense needed, with Mitch Hinge being out for a week for suspension. And so he stepped up big, and I don't even think the forwards haven't necessarily had a great game. The Adelaide forwards had better games than they had this game, but it was just way too much for Carlton. And I thought it might be a problem for Carlton, given that Jack Savani was out with the injury for a week or two, given how tall their forwards are and how dangerous they can be. But I don't think their forwards really even played the greatest game, bro. But I will say Jordan Dawson rolled up forward, and I want to say he had like 3 goals, and he was taking contested marks, and that's not really who I expect. That's not who I expected to really kill our defense, but it just was the case, bro. Like Josh Rochelle was in the midfield kicking our ass, and I don't think Thilthorpe had the greatest game, and you could tell that he was kind of going up with one hand. And that probably had something to do with his fractured finger, but he was still out there, and Tex was out there, and Darcy was still out there, Darcy Fogarty that is, and they were just too much for us, bro. And I think Carlton reverted back to the old habits as far as no pressure, bro, not enough. It's just Adelaide walking through our defense, and we're not putting enough pressure on the team, and our ball movement resorts back to bullshit, and our inside 50s are sky balls, relying on the forwards. And, I think we're usually a good crumbing team, but this game was not it, bro. It really wasn't. It was very disappointing, and just to follow up a game in which you handled Geelong convincingly, it just was piss poor performance to say the least, bro. And I do think we had a little bit of the rubber to green last week against Geelong with the umpires, and this week we just didn't have that as well. So it was just a lot going against Carlton, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and just not good footy, bro, to say the least. And Adelaide played a great game, can't take it away from them. Max Michaelini as well down back. It's just the defense was just too good, bro, and we had no answer for any of this. We had no answer for anything. And Carlton usually is pretty good in the clearance game and got smoked there, bro. So it's like if you can't win your bread and butter, bro, then what are you doing? But it really was like the whole uncontested footy, and Adelaide was controlling possession and really controlling everything that we did, bro. And that's just what it was, bro. That shit was really quite terrible, to be honest. And you really don't know what Carlton you're getting, man. You really don't. But it's good. I think this game was important for both sides as far as positioning on the ladder and getting their season back on track. Carlton had won 3 straight and looked convincing, and now they're back to square one, and I don't know what team you're about to get with them. And Adelaide had fell off the rails just a little bit, and now they're back. So they look like the team earlier in the season when they were dangerous attacking side and putting defense under pressure. And hey, man, maybe they're back to that. So yeah, that's what I got for that one. Third game, we had 2 games going at the same time. It was Geelong Collingwood, and this game had a great ending, one of the best endings of the year so far. Definitely game it around at this point. This speaks a lot to the game, but also speaks a lot to the quality of matches that we've had this week so far. But yeah, I think for about 2.5 quarters, I think Collingwood is really dominant. Pendlebury looked nice, bro. Still chugging along, bro. 37 years old, still slow motion footy. Having a heavy impact on the game. Nick Dacos was Nick Dacos, and yeah, I think Collingwood was doing a pretty good job, bro. I think Brody Marchek has, if not the best hand, has one of the best set of hands in footy, if not the best. And yeah, man, I think they were just doing pretty good, bro. Like from the center, and yeah, they did great but I also think Geelong did a great job staying in the contest until it was time to strike, and they definitely did that in the 4th quarter. I think at the end of the game, it really was a combination of Collingwood having missed opportunities, a couple not necessarily bad calls, but a couple calls that went against Collingwood, and just going against a stiffer team that was really up to the challenge, bro. And I think the challenge really was met by Bailey Smith and Patrick Dangerfield, particularly in the 4th quarter. Pies were up by at least like 20 in the third quarter, and they got outscored by 20 plus in the fourth quarter. Like I said, it was really off the backs of Dangerfield and Bailey Smith. But yeah, the last 2 minutes of the game, it was right down to the wire. But also, just to set the table for this game, I forgot to say that this was Jack Crisp's record-breaking match, 245 consecutive games, I believe. So that's quite a long time, considering you only have like 22, 23, 24 games in the footy season, in the home away season. So, but yeah, man, that's definitely the Iron Man of the competition, and that's no little feat. And it was kind of poetic because he had an opportunity to win the game at the end of the game. Like I said, Collingwood was up by 20, and the lead just got taken over in the fourth quarter by Geelong. And Geelong was up by about 10, like 2 minutes to go. And Bobby Hill had a nice chase down tackle. He got him around the knees, but then they called tripping. So there was like a couple plays around that particular area of time where the momentum got away from Collingwood and suited Geelong. Another situation was where Jamie Elliott got called for grabbing the jersey right through the corridor when Collingwood looked like they were potentially about to make a move. But Jamie Elliott did have a chance at the end of the game. It was probably like under a minute at this point. Kicked it, was going for goal, kicked and fell short. But Brody Myercheck, with the hands he has, had like a pack mark, had a contested mark. Was able to salvage that and kick a goal, bring the lead down to about 4. And ball was brought back down to the center. It was only like maybe not even 30 seconds left, maybe about 30 seconds, a couple stoppages, time runs off the clock. And yeah, they were at the very last second, they were able to wheel the ball forward, slam it on the boot, and Jack Crisp takes a mark inside 50, which gave him the opportunity to be the hero on his big night to win the game, and ultimately kicked it and it went too wide, and Geelong ended up surviving, bro. So it was a great end to the footy. I'll say that. It was definitely one of the better games, best game of the round, one of the better games of the season, I would say. But yeah, and I think Geelong overcome a lot, bro, because they didn't have Tom Stewart this game, and we all know how important he is structurally to the defense of Geelong. And Reece Stanley is down back there too, and Blitzhouse had to push down back because Reece Stanley did a hamstring, and so there was a lot of adversity that Geelong faced this game, and they just stayed in the fight and ended up winning. So it was a good bounce back win. I thought that Collingwood was going to whoop their ass, given the performance that Geelong had put up against Carlton last week, where they were convincingly beat. But great coaching, and Chris Scott got his team ready to play, and that's what they did. So big win for Geelong. I don't think Collingwood will really take too much from this loss, but they were about due for a loss. They've been winning a lot, and yeah, it's good to see Geelong be able to bounce back from a loss like that, man. And so that's what I got from that one. And the last game that was going on at the same time was Melbourne West Coast. Melbourne was really dominant, particularly in the beginning of this game. They couldn't get the scoreboard to reflect that. They had the first handful of clearances on West Coast. West Coast really didn't look like they measured up in the midfield compared to Melbourne, but Melbourne just gave them opportunities with turnovers and not really having a great direction moving forward with the footy. And West Coast made them pay, and they actually took the lead at halftime off a great passage of play, a great couple passages of play where Tyler Brockman and Jaden Hunt and Elijah Hewitt had goals. Yeah, that's what I like to see from Elijah Hewitt. Elijah Hewitt, I've been expecting him to take a leap this season. He's one of the mid forwards that West Coast is really hoping to be able to rely on in the future. And until he gets his shit together like that, they have one less player to rely on, bro. So it's good to see him in the last couple of weeks be able to make a good impact. You've seen him play good against Essendon. He had 3 goals this game. But yeah, also I think it was just tough because you're going against Max Gawn, bro, who's definitely the best ruckman in the competition. He just has so much influence on the midfield and so much influence in his stoppages, and there's really just not much you could do with him, bro. He's definitely the best. It's clear cut, I think, and he just makes it easy for the midfield. And with the midfield without Clayton Oliver this week, I think that was a big deal. Petrarca played great. Jack Viney played great. And even the youngsters played great. Like Caleb Windsor had a great game. Langford had a great game. And you know, it's just once you have a ruckman being able to serve you up the ball, man, it's like it's too easy. Harry Petty got out with concussion, and so Daniel Turner had an opportunity to make himself one of the key targets up forward. I think he had a great game as well. So I know Melbourne's pretty happy to be able to rely on another forward. And another, actually, I think a big reason why Melbourne was able to really take the lead and bully West Coast was because Jeremy McGovern ended up getting pushed under the ball, getting pushed under another player by Jake Melksham. And yeah, definitely took him out the game. And you know, they're short on stocks down back, bro. Harry Edwards nursing an ankle injury, and really it was just making Oscar Allen position down back even more important, bro. So he got his work cut out for him down there, man. He looked more comfortable this week. He struggled earlier before with his first time down back, but you know, hopefully he's finding his groove. I think he is. And yeah, this game just ended up not being close despite West Coast being able to take the lead at halftime. Melbourne ended up running away with the game. And yeah, just Melbourne's looking to turn their season around, bro. And I think they still got some work to do, but you know, they're taking steps forward, bro. And so they're not. I'm not doubting them as heavily as I did earlier in the season. You see some of the senior players getting back to form. You see Max Gahn playing his ass off, and you see the young blokes, you know, lifting their own weight, bro. So at the end of the day, Melbourne looking better, man. I'm not gonna say they're a finals team. I'm not gonna say they're not. We still got a long way to go as far as the rest of the home and away season. So I'm really just gonna be locked in. Stay tuned. West Coast, they just gotta be able to put more consistent effort, bro. They can't get blown away like that. But you see what they're trying to do. You know, they made Melbourne pay for some of their turnovers, but you know it's gonna take a lot more than that for you to win your first game of the season. So, yeah, that's what I got for a Super Saturday, man. Like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube shit, man. We got 3 more games going on tonight. Y'all stay tuned for it. Hopefully we have a ripper of a game. At least one of the games be a ripper. Hopefully the Q Clash is pretty good. And yeah, man. Tune in. You know we're gonna be live. Yes, Lord.